If you're looking for a plan for your money, an action plan specifically, because right now you feel a lack of control because either you've been trying to budget and that's super frustrating, or you've got these downsides that you don't know how to protect everything that's going on in this chaotic world, or you just feel like you're paying too much tax because you don't have the right type of an accountant, or you think right now that you got to spend money in order to save tax, but if you don't know something called tax arbitrage, it means you're spending money, you're like $1 to only save 30 or 20 cents, which doesn't make sense. So do you want a healthy relationship with money? Would you like to kind of rewrite how your family deals with money moving forward? It becomes a byproduct of value creation in the right environment that allows you to be more productive? Well, I'm gonna let you do a little drop-in. I'm gonna let you look over my shoulder as I work one-on-one with someone and show them these specific issues. And you know what? Once you understand, then you can implement it in your life. Let's say that we talk a year from today. What needs to happen for you guys to be really happy with your progress?
I think the first thing, and we've already started doing this, is just awareness of what exactly is going on with our finances. We haven't done anything with wills, with trust, or anything like that. And so I talked to Garrett yesterday, and that's like high up on our priority list, is to get those things done, cool. That legacy stuff. But I think the biggest thing for us, and we've been waiting for a couple of years to sign up with you. We've been watching a lot of, obviously, Epic stuff. We've been a part of Epic for 4 years now. So we've seen your videos here and there through the Epic videos. And so it's just a matter of it being the right timing for us to jump in. This goes with both of us. We don't really, I guess the first couple of years in practice, our whole goal was building everything and building a business and bringing money in, and we've done that, but we don't really know what we don't have a strategy with any of the money. And with that comes a lot of stress and uncertainty for us. And it spills over into every other part of our lives as well. Definitely impacts our relationship with our son, definitely impacts our relationship with us. There's been a lot of stress over that too. And so we're just really excited to
address it.
Yeah. And have an action plan.
I don't even think it's necessarily not having a strategy. It's literally like I'm an avoider. So like literally all I pay attention to is like that we're growing and that we're making more money each month, but I don't really pay attention to like anything else. I just ignore it. And so like we don't even, it's like kind of embarrassing. Like we don't even really know like what our overhead is, or truthfully like how much money we spend on what each month or anything. We just are focused on making more money each month, and then we just spend it and it all kind of is okay. But we literally don't even know, like we have no control over our finances because we have no awareness of anything that's going on, and that makes me feel really out of control.
Okay. Yeah. We recently created this new spreadsheet that can really help you understand what's going on with your business. And so when you talk with Reeves or Tim or whoever is coaching you, see if they've got it, see if they've got the business spreadsheets, because I know that they're brand new developed, and I just looked at them. I tried to build these years ago, and the more they let me build them, the more complicated, and everybody's like, what the hell are we supposed to do with this? We got this guy that's just a savant that just built it so simply so that you can kind of look at it. And I'm not looking for you guys to, like, I get you're admitting you're an avoider. I'm not looking at you to be like so mindful of every penny and pinching pennies or budgeting. I'm looking at you just going, what if once a week you just looked at stuff for 5 to 10 minutes and just had a general sense of it, right? Are you and building an automated infrastructure that then you just have to pay attention to make sure you don't go out of the lines or go out of bounds. But then you can start feeling like, okay, we're making progress. We know what's happening, but it's not like micromanagement. It's just simply awareness.
Yeah, I feel
like what the word you guys used.
Literally, probably like 5 different times we've felt this way, and then we're like, okay, well, we must need to just start a budget, because that's like, you know, what you've been taught, like to get control of your finances, you just need to do a budget. And so literally we like start by, okay, just trying to figure out what we spend, and then we get overwhelmed and then we quit and like just or like ignore it again. So that's kind of the cycle we've been in.
Got it. Yeah, and I mean, I've tried to budget before, long ago. And I was like, first married, I'm going on 18 years now, but when I first married, I was a miser. And like, I really would like, my wife and I fought more that first year because I was like, every little thing, like, why is this energy bill so high? And why'd you buy this for your classroom? She's a teacher. I'm like, dude, they're supposed to pay you. You stop paying for stuff. Like, it was just like budgeting just consumed my entire life. And so I think that happens, or it just becomes so like frustrating dealing with all that. And there's so much time that it's like, abandon it. So all I really want is to get you guys to automatically pay yourselves first. So a percentage that comes in, and then every week spend a little bit of time going, okay, do we pay ourselves first? And then what's left over, and are we staying within that range, right? And if the money's there, then you go do stuff and you enjoy it, and you don't have to feel any guilt for it if you know you're paying yourself first.
I think I resonated. Oops.
Just shutting my door. I can hear I'm at my home office today, and I can hear my young son out there. Like, he commentates the video games the entire time he plays it. So he's louder than I am.
I resonated with the lady who said that she just like pays herself based on, like, I literally transfer money from our business account to our personal just to pay for whatever it is that we're buying. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm like, oh, well, we need this much, and if we need more, I just move more money. So we're not really living by any sort of system or structure. I just put more money in our account when we need more money.
Yeah, and what's nice is system and structure. That's all we're looking for. A system that doesn't require major thinking that becomes exhausting. Because the problem is, if it's exhausting, you got everything else going on in life. And if everything else is bombarding you, what's going to get pushed aside?
Yeah.
Right? So it's like almost predictable that's going to get sidelined or derailed. So let's just build the wealth capture account, automatically pay yourself first, and then the question is, when you get enough savings, then what do you do? See, it buys you some time, and you don't have to feel rushed. Like, a lot of times in finance, people are feeling rushed. We got to invest early, often, and always. And what are we missing out on when we're young? And it's like, you know what? You're building a business. Yeah. That's the investment. You got to build the habits and the infrastructure. That's the next investment. When there's enough cash from there, let's be really intentional and deliberate about what to do with it, but not feel rushed into doing anything. Because as we talk right now, the market's overvalued in almost every area. And, as long as that's the case, it's actually buying you a little bit of time to just get these things in order and don't feel scarcity or rushed.
Yeah. I think that's the main thing, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. How do you feel about taxes or loans or corporate structure or, insurance?
Yeah, so we ran into a little bit of I guess you would call a scuffle in 2017. We were at LLC, and the first year we were in practice, we actually got a couple grand back from the government just because we just started. We just started. Yeah. But the second year we were in practice, we just exploded. And at our first sit down meeting, it was December 27th or 28th,
our
I think.
Accountant, he emailed us literally like right before Christmas and said, essentially, oh, I just looked at your stuff from this entire year and we need to talk.
Yeah. And so we
Merry
sat
Christmas.
down. Yeah, we sat down and he's like, well, you had a really good year.
And
like,
I didn't.
Yeah, I know we
like,
did.
Essentially, like, I didn't think you were going to do very good, so I guess I didn't really look at it. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, so basically he sat down and he's like, well, as of right now, you guys are going to owe like, and we're like, oh, and we're just like, oh, shit, what do we do? And so then he advised us, kind of like what you said not to do is go buy shit.
Right. Buy something. Yeah.
So that's what we bought a truck, we bought TV, we bought a bunch of stuff. And he's like, well, if I would have looked at this like 30 days ago, I could have switched you to an S Corp and that would have saved you $15,000. I was like, well, you probably should have looked at it 30 days ago. I don't know.
And he wasn't having us pay quarterly either.
Yeah. And so
you're getting penalized as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the next year he did get us switched to an S Corp. So for 2018, we didn't have to pay as much taxes. I don't know if it was because of that or the fact that we significantly increased our overhead with hiring another doctor, bigger team.
Yeah.
And honestly,
paying quarterly.
But honestly, I didn't want that to happen again. So then I just started buying more stuff under the business to prevent us. Like I went the exact opposite direction. I'm like, I'm not going to freaking let them do that to me again, and not responsible in any way, shape or form. But that's
you're aware of it now and we can make it change because
Right.
The whole let the tax tail wag the dog, where we're buying stuff that we don't need or necessarily even want just to save taxes, actually destroys wealth. But hey, I made that mistake when I started out, so you shouldn't feel bad about it.
Right.
The good news is the tax bill meant that you made good money.
Yeah.
And the other good news is you now know that there's a different way to save tax, and you're learning it pretty early. Some people just never learn the lesson, suffer it the rest of their life.
Right.
So we go back to that, like, number one, let's build the proper team. Let's meet with them pretty regularly. So you're not just paying taxes quarterly, you're meeting quarterly. Let's look back 3 years. Is there anything that can be done? Because we know you overpaid or you paid a lot in 2017. And then, number three, let's have an attorney as part of that process. Then let's maximize some of the deductions, like whether it's hosting some things for your employees at your house and renting the house out for those types of activities, or whether it's, I don't know, there's a number of things that we could do. You've already done the S Corp thing. That's one strategy. And then if we're actually going to spend money to save money, let's make sure if you spend $1, you get more than $1 back with that tax arbitrage stuff I was teaching, because you'll spend a fraction of the amount and get 4 to 5 times more benefit. So, taxes can really become a problem of the past. You'll still pay, but your proportion that you'll pay will be much different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're switching all of our people, like our accountants and everything, over to your people, just so it's all like together.
Yeah.
Under one roof. Yeah.
Yeah. But another thing, and I watched your videos pretty early on in practice to get the general idea of like not investing in stuff that the government controls, as far as like IRAs and stuff like that. And obviously that's a huge thing the accountant says to us, like you have to do a step, you have to do IRAs. And our financial advisor, he's definitely on board, and we're introducing him to your books, your material and stuff like that. And he's totally on board and is really pumped about it. But both our banker and our accountants are hounding us about investing in this stuff, and it's tax-free and all this. I couldn't tell them exactly why I didn't want to do that. I just knew that it wasn't a good strategy. So we literally haven't invested anything yet, just because I don't want to invest something just to invest it, not having any idea. And we're blessed enough to, be involved with Epic and see your videos early on to know that we didn't want to do that. But that's another big thing that we want to get organized as well, as far as figuring out if that is an option, like, is that smart, and just that whole investment strategy. It's all completely new to us. So
yeah, we're gonna teach you something. We're gonna give you this investment scorecard that helps you identify how aligned any investment is with your investor DNA. It's 10 questions. Plus, you've got Tim and the team now to help you do due diligence, so you can say, does this make sense to do or not, based upon who you are. And when you uncover your investor DNA, you're really going to learn like what to invest in, what not to invest in, which is going to save you a lot of headache, a lot of time. You're not going to waste, any meetings on things that don't make sense. And, I highly doubt an IRA is going to make sense. I just feel like you're going to make more money in the future, not less money in the future. The government's $23 trillion in debt. They're probably going to raise taxes. So I want more private contracts and tax-free versus tax-deferred. I want more, tax-efficient things along the way, not just tax-deferred things that you have to pay on the back end. So we'll look at and investigate all the things. And if you ever do an IRA, it's probably going to be later on in the plan, where we've got other offsets that can help, reduce that tax.
Yeah.
Other questions you guys have?
I just want to figure out how to have a healthy relationship where I don't have to budget and feel guilty about what I'm spending, but while also having control over it. So I think this is a good start. So
we know mindful cash management will be key. Automated infrastructure to pay yourself first, building up liquidity and savings. And the game changer is economic independence. If we can create enough cash flow from 2 sources, your business, when you don't have to be there every day and it can still create cash flow, and your assets to cover your basic expenses, you've now kind of won the game. You're like, cool. Everything's freedom of choice from there. No more have-tos. And so all that income that you earn from there could be reinvested, it could be spent, and you have plenty of options. I guarantee your family, if they had a horrible time with money, didn't even know what economic independence was or how to achieve it, or it wasn't an aim for them. And so you can rewrite your family's financial future and destiny just by simply now having the context of economic independence and the team and the information and the intention and commitment to that then you don't have to pass on that financial bondage or that train wreck. And so think of money, like the questions I want you to answer is like, why is money important to you? What is money, right? How is money earned? What can money do for you? What are the benefits of money? And as you start to look at money as a byproduct, it's just simply like your mental capital and your relationship capital. How effective are you at delivering value? Money's the way that other people exchange with you so that you can store that value. Because they're consuming it right then when they're buying something from you. You're not consuming it right then when you're providing the value, but that allows you to have things in the future. If we can avoid speculation, if we can avoid overconsumption and instead create that economic independence, that's something you can get to in 3 to 7 years. And then think about that. What your families haven't had in lifetimes, you now have in 3 to 7 years to rewrite that history and then choose what you want to do and be an example to everyone. And look, there's still going to be resistance. There's going to be people in your family like, you guys spend too much money, or what are you doing with this? Because when you're economically independent, it won't make sense how you can afford all of this type of stuff if you're doing it, whether that's time off, whether that's trips that you take, whatever it is that you value the most. And so like I had to bring my family along. I had to show my grandfather my bank account once. And then all of a sudden he's like, whoa, that's, and then, my mom actually became my personal controller. So she sees the money. And, I remember one quarter, she's like, you just paid more in taxes in a quarter than your dad and I ever earned. Right. So like it changed the viewpoint, and then I could actually influence them. I got to tell you, I think the family's the hardest to influence. Like my dad's still a little bit miserly with his money at times, but my mom has totally opened up that they now experience living wealthy and taking trips, which that wasn't part of their history before. And because I'm like, hey, we don't care about the inheritance, just spend it. Like we got it, me and my siblings are okay. The one works at Wealth Factory, the other one has an amazing blog and is a teacher, and they both do really well. And they also learn these philosophies. So don't feel like you're doomed to repeat that history, because you're going to rewrite it in the philosophies that you have.
So I do have one question, and I'm just like really new to like financial ideas and strategies. I wasn't really taught it throughout my life. But when you say the two different ways to become or achieve economic independence is through obviously the money our business brings in, but then you also said your assets covering your basic expenses of living. What do you mean by that as far as the assets covering? Like, how does that happen?
So one of my biggest assets is my intellectual property. So my books, whether it's Killing Sacred Cows, 5-Day Weekend, What Would the Rockefellers Do, Win and Play, all these books, I can be getting paid whether I show up or not. And those are renewals and royalties that come in. Like how cool, like I sold 609 books last week of Killing Sacred Cows. That book's 10 years old, So it was really exciting. Like I license my content. So you guys got the wealth book, right? That's something I created for the program you're in that I licensed. So I'm getting paid for people that are paying monthly in that program, a percentage for creating that content. So my property isn't real estate, my property is intellectual property. That intellectual property asset isn't just paid for once, it's paid for over time through royalties and renewals and all that kind of stuff, whether it's video courses. For other people, it might be that they buy real estate, and that real estate has renters that kick off cash flow, right? And so that is an asset providing cash flow. Or even if you had some type of stock investment that was giving a dividend, that was coming to you monthly, that's cash flow, and it can start paying towards economic independence. So it's something that isn't just a one-time pay. Like when you go, you adjust, that's one time, right? But we're looking at what would be paying you as a recurring revenue and what assets you have. If you guys, not that you would do this, but like just say you said, okay, the house you're in now, you're like, hey, we're gonna start renting out one of the rooms on Airbnb. That would now be a cash flowing asset if you did that. I once proposed that to my wife. She says, "Hell no, we're not letting people do weird shit in our house." I'm like, okay. so it's not a cash flow opportunity for us, but it could be if we wanted it to be. So when you can create cash flow from your assets, that's the key. Like, if you owned a building and you rented part of it out, or if you have an associate and you're making money off that associate, those are the different things.
Cool.
Okay. Cool.
All right, guys.
Cool. Thank you.
Have a good one.